Two complimentary plays for this Tuesday night card coming up in just a moment. I'm going to take a look at the Big 12 battle between Texas Tech and Oklahoma. Of course, I had a 15-time best bet on the Red Raiders' last home game as they trounced Iowa State in revenge. They're in another revenge situation tonight against the Sooners. Can they deliver in Lubbock? And also going to dip my toes in one of my least favorite conferences, the Mid-American, as Toledo hosts Ohio. Also, a couple of insights and a mini preview, shall we say, of an SEC game between Texas A&M and Missouri. And I'll tell you why I'm not so hot on the Aggies after backing them in their most recent game at home against Kentucky, which was an easy win. And I'll tell you why I got off the Aggies tonight. Now, in terms of what I've got going tonight, last night I was not enthralled with the college card. Instead, I looked to the NBA and scored an easy 5-dime winner as Philadelphia broke open a tight game in the third quarter and cruised to an easy double-digit win and cover at home against the New York Knicks. And I have now won 18 of the past 25 days, including each of the past 5. And that puts me in the position once more to raise the bar. Normally a 15-dime play is my top-rated selection. Tonight, another 20-dime raise the bar release in college basketball. Only the 21st such play over the past 15 years, and it's on the game between Maryland and Nebraska. I just had one of these plays on this past Saturday and scored with Loyola of Chicago, getting the job done at Indiana State. You got that play for half price off. The same thing goes tonight. Get it for half price off simply by using the coupon code RAISE, R-A-I-S-E. This is bigger than my usual top-rated 15-dime winner number 10 out of 13 when I scored with Cincinnati, the 8-point favorite at SMU by 25 points on Sunday. Bigger than the 15-dime winner number 9 out of 12 with Rhode Island, a 6.5-point favorite over Davidson by, I think it was 13 points on Friday. Bigger than top-rated 15-dime winner number 8 out of 11 with Texas Tech hammering Iowa State last Wednesday. Bigger than my 15-dime top-rated winner on Philadelphia in the Super Bowl. And again, you get it for half price off. The other big play going tonight, that would be Anthony Redd, who has been on quite a roll as he goes for winning day number 17 out of 24 and 7 out of 8, as he's made $10 bettors over the past 23 days, a little over $7,400. Top-rated 100-dime college hoops winner number 16 out of 22. Dog shocker of the year. A-Red says this puppy is getting way too many points in Vegas, and it matches his Sunday 100-dime winner with Duke, laying the points at Georgia Tech, the easy cover. Matches his Saturday 100-dime winner when he had Washington getting 5.5 points, and they cover in a double overtime loss at, who were they playing? Oh, at Oregon State in Corvallis. Matches last Wednesday's 100-dime winner when he had Texas A&M, an 8.5-point underdog, winning outright at Auburn. You get it for over half price off simply by using coupon code DOG, D-O-G, as he goes for college basketball winner number 19 out of 28 overall. And of course, Dom Chambers. Yes, Dom actually lost an NHL play last night. Yes, it happens to the best of us sometimes. So that means Dom is actually going for NHL winner number 12 out of 14 over the past 3 weeks tonight. 12 out of 14. You get it for over half price off by using coupon code DOM, his first name, D-O-M, and he has his NHL underdog shocker going this evening. So that's among the highlights for tonight's card. Let's get to the complimentary plays, and let's start with the game between Texas Tech and Oklahoma. The Red Raiders are a 7.5-point favorite in this game. They're coming off a nice road win at Kansas State where they broke the game open in the second half and cruised against the Wildcats 66-47. They won their last game at home. As I told you, I had them last Wednesday night. They were in revenge, 76-58 over Iowa State. They've won 6 straight games overall. They've now taken control of the Big 12. They're in first place. When these two met in Norman back on January 9th, the Sooners won 75-65. Tech in that game, miserable performance offensively, shot only 37.5%, hit only 6 of 25 three-pointers in that game. Could not stop Trae Young. Second half of that game, the Oklahoma sharpshooter had 22 of his 27 points, finished with 9 assists and 4 steals in that game as well. And Oklahoma as a team shot 56% after intermission in that contest, which really is a statistical anomaly when you think about it, because Texas Tech, one of the best defensive teams in the nation. In fact, going into that January 9th contest, they were 4th in scoring defense, allowing just 59 points a game. Well, I can tell you, having just bet them last week, they are even a better defensive team playing at home in Lubbock. And you also have an Oklahoma team that has just been pathetic outside of Norman this season. They enter this contest having lost 3 in a row in 6 of their last 8 games overall, but on the road, they've lost 6 in a row, 5 of them coming in Big 12 action. And I've got to lay the points with Texas Tech here in revenge, minus the 7.5 points. Yes, it's a big number, but I think with the way the Sooners are struggling, both with their confidence and on the highway, and the way that I anticipate Texas Tech coming out here in front of another sellout crowd with their defensive frenzy, I think that they'll be able to at least contain Young. And the way the Sooners have consistently shown you that they have not been able to do anything on the highway, I think it's a good play with Texas Tech laying the points. Your next game is going to be Toledo, minus the points at home, 9.5 points at home against Ohio. The Bobcats come into this game coming off a 9-point loss at Western Michigan on Saturday. They have lost 8 of their last 10 games overall. They're 1-5 on the Mid-American Conference Highway. Meanwhile, Toledo won the first meeting between these two in the middle of January, 91-57. I don't care if they're laying 15 here tonight. I got to lay the points with them in the rematch at home. Toledo in the first meeting at Ohio, okay? They shot 52.2%. They hit 13 of 22 three-pointers. In the first meeting, Ohio, playing at home now, at home, only hit like 34% of their shots, and they were 3 for 15 on three-pointers. Well, if the Bobcats can only do that at home, why would I expect them to do anything better in the rematch in Toledo tonight, considering they've lost 8 of their last 10 games and they're 1-5 on the conference highway? The Rockets are coming off a hard-fought 73-57 win, or 73-67 win at Miami of Ohio on Saturday. They've won 3 straight, 10 of their last 11. I like Toledo in this contest. Before I get to the Texas A&M game, well, then let's go over to Texas A&M. Okay, so Texas A&M, I rode them on Saturday. I gave you them as a free pick, and they took care of business with an 85-74 win over Kentucky, and that's 4 straight wins for them. This is a team that's gotten back into the SEC race. They've righted their ship after an 0-5 start in conference play. Their last road game, it was 81-80 at Auburn. I just mentioned that with Anthony Redd hitting them as a big 100-dime play last Wednesday. And it was a game in which they opened up a double-digit lead, and they withstood a furious Auburn come back in that one to escape with the win. The first meeting between them and Missouri, it was a horrible, horrible game offensively for both of these teams. I mean, A&M shot 39.1%, Missouri shot 27.8%, but A&M won that game 60-49 in College Station back on January 20th because using their size, they've got a 6'10 and a 6'11 guy in the front line, they managed to dominate the boards and had a 46-38 rebounding advantage. So now they're going into Columbia tonight for the rematch. And the Tigers have won 4 straight. They're coming off an 89-85 win over Mississippi State. But listen, Mississippi State is 1-6 outside of Starkville this season, so don't get too excited about that game. Texas A&M, though, however, has won 7 straight in the series. But here's my concerns. Texas A&M, after the win against Kentucky, shortly after that game, within 24 hours afterwards, 2 of their players got busted or got nabbed with hit with possession of marijuana charges. One of them, these were both reserve guards, one who didn't play a lot, one who was a somewhat key contributor off the bench. One got dismissed from the team, one got suspended indefinitely. Also, one of their key contributors, another guard, Dwayne Wilson, who was averaging 9 points and 4 rebounds and 4 assists a game, and it started 16 of 24 games this season. He was ruled out for the rest of the season with a knee injury that had been bothering him all year long. So suddenly their backcourt depth took a hell of a hit. So suddenly, you know, a Texas A&M team that was pick 'em in the overnight line is now a 2.5-point underdog. I'm not so enthralled with backing Texas A&M in this contest. I'm also not a big fan of Missouri either way. So if you had to ask me now, after handicapping this game at 3 a.m. in the morning Eastern Time, now at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time, I'd probably lean more toward Missouri, but I'll tell you, Missouri is not that good, and this is going to be another probably low-scoring defensive type of game where, it's probably going to be one of these 60 to 58, 60 to 55 games. So I lean a little toward Missouri now, but I'm also a big believer that, you bet your first inclination, and then when you hit with the injuries and you find out more about the teams, it's like it's one of those games to stay away. Another game that I handicapped here tonight, listen, I handicapped so many games on the card, and we might as well talk about it anyway. Tennessee, overnight line, 12.5 at home against South Carolina. Tennessee now, 10.5 at home against South Carolina. I've been riding the Volunteers. I've talked about them many times this season. I gave you the Volunteers last week when they won at Kentucky. It was a huge win for them. They hadn't won in Kentucky since Adolph Rupp was alive. Okay, I'm embellishing a little bit, but it was a huge win. So what did they do? Typical of what happens in college basketball and college football. They had the all-time letdown game the very next outing at Alabama on Saturday. They got destroyed by the Crimson Tide. They lost by 28 points in Tuscaloosa. I would say that's probably, and I think Rick Barnes would probably agree, was probably their worst performance of the entire season. That's what happens when you win at Kentucky 4 days earlier and you just don't show up the very next game. So now they're coming back home. They beat South Carolina 70-63 January 20th in Columbia. They won that game by outscoring a bigger South Carolina team in the paint 32-16. And I think it's interesting to note that they were coming off a 59-55 loss at Missouri, the game prior to winning at South Carolina in the first go-round. Now you have a Gamecocks team that comes into this game coming off a 65-41 home loss to Florida. They've lost 5 in a row. Their last 2 SEC games on the road, they lost by 16 at Arkansas. They lost by 23 at A&M. This Tennessee team is good. They were good enough to win like 5 in a row before going into Kentucky and winning. They aren't the team that got shellacked by Alabama. I would lay the points with Tennessee here tonight and look for them to rebound. I think they're going to be laser focused here tonight. I think South Carolina is that bad. Would I be willing to lay the 10.5 points with them? Not tonight. So, the 2 complimentary plays, the official free plays tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Again, going with Toledo and Texas A&M. And if I had to rank the 2 selections, God, I never won in the Mid-American Conference. Let's be honest. Football or basketball, do I ever win in the Mid-American Conference? And Texas Tech just made me money last week. But I actually like Toledo a little more. So I'd rank Toledo above Texas Tech. And I'm sticking to that story, and I'll talk to you again tomorrow when we do this one more time. Good luck, everybody.